Hey guys, I'm on the Art Smith Trail here in the Palm Springs, Coachella Valley area of Southern California. Now this is a longer hike. It's about 16 or so miles out and back, a little bit longer. And there's about, 3,500 feet of climbing, lots of ups and downs along the way. It's named after Art Smith, who was deceased, but he was an equestrian who built a lot of the trails that are currently popular in the Palm Springs area. But unlike those trails, this is not a popular trail. I've only seen one other person in about 15 miles of hiking out here so far. So pretty cool trail if you'd like to get away from it all. Now, I also like this trail because the way it was designed, you're pretty close still to the development of the Coachella Valley, but the way they routed it and the way they built the trail, you never really see it or hear it. There's a few spots where you do, but in general, it feels like you're much farther back in the Santa Rosa Mountains than you are. So in that respect, it's a really nice, peaceful hike to do, and it takes you past some palm oases and obviously beautiful desert terrain that this area is known for. Now, if you want to do the hike, I have a full guide on HikingGuy.com. There's a link to that underneath the YouTube video. I'll talk about parking, I'll give you maps, and all of the logistical stuff that you need to do that. But otherwise, in this video, I'm going to show you the turn-by-turns on the trail. I'll give you the highlights. I'll show you what to expect when you do this hike. And as you're watching, if you could do me a big favor and click that little thumbs up if you like the video. It helps me out tremendously from the channel because it helps the video get discovered, and it'll also help other hikers find the video and hopefully know what to expect when they come out here too. So it's an easy way to pass it on. All right, guys, let's hit the trail.
All right, so from the parking area, we're just going to go all the way down to the end, and you're going to look for this little Art Smith trail sign. And in the beginning of the hike, you're going to see a lot of these. They're very helpful. Art Smith right there. I'm going to continue down along this berm. There are other use trails in the area here, so just a heads up, this is the one you want. As you go down, if you look off to the left, you're going to see the trail doing some switchbacks up that little hill there. That's where we're eventually going. But at the end of the berm, you're going to reach a fence. We're going to make the left. There's another Art Smith trail sign. We're going to take this right up to the hill where there's a really cool Art Smith trail metal sign here, 1977. This is sort of the start of the trail as we head uphill here on these little switchbacks. And eventually we're going to kind of gain the ridge, and you're going to come out and get nice views down into the Bighorn Golf Course. And I think it's a neighborhood, Bighorn neighborhood down there. Overall, this is a hike of ups and downs. There's a sort of initial climb of maybe 1,000 or so feet, then two other bumps that you're going to have to navigate when you come back. But just a heads up, there was a trail sign. You can see right away where after a little downhill, we're going uphill again. This is how it is the entire way. I'll point out the hills as we go. We're going to climb up a little bit. At this junction, we're going to make the right. This is a little cutoff trail to the top of the hill where we were before. I don't think it's official, so that's why I'm not showing it to you. But you can take that in a pinch. But we're going to keep on going up. And this is the only real intersection. This is the Hopalong Cassidy Trail off to the right. We're going to go left. I love the trail names here in the Palm Springs area, Hopalong Cassidy. But from here on out, we're going to go up along, climbing along all these rocks. And we're only really a mile or two away from development here. But because of the way the trail has been routed, it feels like you are much farther away. You're kind of blocked off from development and the noise that it makes. At this point, we're going to come down into this wash and go through this little mini palm grove here. Palms are not too healthy at this point there, but they're still palms. This is probably as close as we're going to get into a palm grove on this whole hike. We will pass others. But right at the end of the grove, you're going to look for the left-hand turn here and just hike out of there and then continue on uphill through the desert here. Again, beautiful views. If you love the desert, you're going to love this trail. Really spectacular. And you can kind of see up in the distance there are some palm trees. There's another palm grove up there. We're not going to go into it. We're going to go right by it. And the trail's purposefully routed that way so that we can give the wildlife some space and not sort of disturb the areas where they depend on water and shelter and all that fun stuff. But we're going to go up along this palm oasis here and continue on up. There's another one up there in the distance you can see up in the little gap there. Really beautiful. I'm going to come out across here and get some expansive views across the Coachella Valley over the high peaks or higher peaks in Joshua Tree. And we're going to continue from here up this kind of gradual climb as we go here. Another sign for the Artsmith Trail. They kind of thin out as we continue. In the beginning, there's more of them, but the trail is always pretty easy to follow. It's a mountain biking trail too, so you'll see mountain bike tracks and footprints. It's never really a hard one to navigate. Now at this point, we're done the first kind of climb of the route, and we're going to head downhill for a little while and do another climb and then another climb to the end. But as we go down, the rock formations are beautiful as we kind of wind our way through these canyons. Really, really pretty desert landscape here. You'll also notice there's no shade as we go, so not one to do when it's really, really hot out. And when we cross through this little wash, it's easy to miss, but if you look up to the left there, you're going to see another big, healthy palm grove up the canyon there. Really, really nice. Otherwise, we're going to continue on down through the canyon here. Keep on going on these undulations. And now we're going to start heading uphill once again. And again, it's not a real steep climb. There's steep sections as you go. And if you're coming back, it's going to feel tough, as you go uphill on the way back. But uphill section and then some downhills. Nice thing here is you can see the trail sort of winding ahead in front of you, which is encouraging to know where you're going as we go downhill. More sweeping views. Another trail sign I mentioned earlier, they're a little more spread out as we continue, but again, it's easy to follow. If you look down, you can see the trail is really well worn here as we go around. At this point, you're going to come around the bend and you're going to see San Jacinto, unless it's cloudy or something, in the distance. Really, really beautiful views of San Jacinto over the desert, the foothills here. And we can continue down through this wash after we just did that little uphill. It can get tricky when you go through the washes, but again, just look on the other side, see where the trail goes up. But when we get to this big wash right here, we're actually going to make the left and hike up through the wash. And there's a sign here. It can get a little confusing because mountain bikers have gone every which way around through here. But you're going to want to go up this big final wash, which should be almost 7 miles in at this point, almost towards the end. We can continue up the wash all the way until we find a little trail marker and trail heading off to the left here. We're going to go out of the wash to continue on the Artsmith Trail. There's another little uphill section. The final bit to the end is uphill. Again, nothing major, just a few hundred feet, maybe 800 feet, 600 to 800 feet. We're going to get to the top. It levels out. There's San Jacinto in the back, and then eventually going to get to the picnic area at Dunn Road, about 8.5 miles in. This is the end of the Artsmith Trail. There's a neat little sign in the distance again, like there was at the beginning. And then from here, you just turn around and go back the way you came.
That's it. That's the Artsmith. Definitely a nice one here in the Palm Springs area. Now, if you stick around for a minute, I will show you what the hike looks like on a map so you can kind of get a lay of the land. But otherwise, guys, I will see you out on the trails. Bye.
All right, so here's the hike. You can see it's an out and back. We're going to start from over here in this parking area and go up to the Dunn Road, which is dirt. Not really a road you drive in onto. Now, when you come down and park, I'll talk about this in the guide too, but there's other parking areas around here. Just make sure you're in the right parking area. Walk down along the berm to the Artsmith sign, which was right down here. And then we do this climb over here. We loop around. This was the part where we could see the Bighorn golf course. And there are Bighorn sheep around here as well. I didn't see them on this day, but I did see them before. We come around here, and this is sort of the meandering climb that I mentioned. There's downhill sections, there's uphill sections as we go here. Here's the hop along trail coming off there, all the way up. And then this is that small oasis where we went through the wash down here. And here you can see the wash. We cut through, we cut off of there, and then the next destination, which you can also just use as the destination itself, is the bigger oasis of palms over here. And this is the one up in the hills that we saw. But otherwise, from here, we're winding around. We come out, we get the views across the Joshua Tree. Once we kind of come out on this side, we can see down here. Now, when you go on this hike, you really don't see any of this because you're protected by these mountains. So it's quiet. It feels like you're in the desert as you're going. Here's that little uphill, and then we come back down, send all the way down here. This was the grove up in the canyon that I mentioned earlier. Then we do this little climb up here to this last little ridge, and then we have this descent down here, and then I showed you earlier, we hiked up in the wash. Here's that wash we're going to hike up in. We climb out of there, and then we come out up here at the picnic area on Dunn Road, which is right here. And if you did want to combine this with some other trails, you can definitely make a loop. You can do point to point and come back down on this road. There's options, but as the Forest Service website says, this is one of the signature trails of the Santa Rosa National Monument, San Jacinto National Monument. So doing it out and back is definitely a good option as well. And there you can see as we go back there, it's a little bit of a bumpy up and down, a little bit tougher when you come back just because you have little uphills. But anyway, guys, that's the hike.